Hello and welcome to the Anatolia News Podcast. This is ENGİN Tatlıbal.
Sayın Bakanım, çok değerli mesai arkadaşlarım, kıymetli basın mensupları ve çok değerli misafirler. Milli İstihbarat Teşkilatı'nda...
In this recording taken during the handover ceremony at the Foreign Ministry, many Turks and many people other than Turks heard the voice of Turkey's new and mysterious Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan for the very first time. He was the chief of MİT, Turkey's intelligence agency, for 13 years. He is known as the number one confidant and mentor of Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and very few people know about who Hakan Fidan really is. Let's go to 9 years ago. Kurdish political party HDP's prominent politician Sırrı Süreyya Önder made a statement wishing Hakan Fidan to be the foreign minister. It was, yes, 9 years ago. Take a look.
Olarak en çok Sayın Hakan Fidan'ın Dışişleri Bakanı olmasını isterim.
İstersiniz.
Evet.
Neden?
I would like to see Mr. Hakan Fidan to be the foreign minister the most, because we had a joint effort and collaboration together during the process. Some way, a socialist person's dialogue with the intelligence agency is not easy. Thus we will get rid and the foreign ministry will deal with him.
İşimiz var burada tanıyoruz açıkçası.
The process Önder talks about is the 2013-2015 PKK Turkey peace process, which was a bold opening out by Turkish state for the very first time in history of the Kurdish question in Turkey. Fidan was the main actor in this process that Turkish state officials sat on the same table with PKK officials. The negotiations took place in Oslo, and some voice records of the meeting leaked to the YouTube and media. And immediately, YouTube was banned by Erdogan administration. All was planned by Fidan, according to many analysts. Despite the public support, the peace process ended after the PKK claimed Turkish intelligence agency of collaborating with ISIS at Suruç bombings in 2015. Turkish states or MİT's collaboration with ISIS never proved formally. However, the MİT trucks incident was a real evidence. It was a real scandal according to many. On January the 1st, 2014, an anonymous call was made to the Adana Attorney General, claiming that a number of lorries were on their way to Syria carrying weapons. Turkish gendarmerie forces conducted a search on January 19th, but their search was cut short by the governor of Adana. The prosecutor who ordered the search, as well many of the gendarmerie soldiers who conducted it, were all removed from their posts and some faced legal investigation. Already the trucks were carrying weapons to Al-Qaeda and ISIS in Syria. On May 29th, 2015, the newspaper Cumhuriyet released footage of the search, confirming that the lorries were in fact carrying weapons, with the title, "Here are the weapons Erdogan denied." On June 2nd, 2015, Erdogan sued Can Dündar, the editor-in-chief of Cumhuriyet newspaper, and requested 2 aggravated life sentences plus 42 years of imprisonment. He and Cumhuriyet's Ankara representative Erdem Gül was arrested. Dündar is living in Germany in exile now. It was Hakan Fidan, the MİT chief of the time, who was in charge in sending the weapons to Al-Qaeda and ISIS to fight against PKK. Now, he is the foreign minister of Turkey. What we know about the biograph of Fidan is highly limited. However, it's known that he was a sergeant at the intelligence section of Turkish land forces. He was at the NATO Rapid Reaction Force in Germany for 3 years. Meanwhile, he was graduated from a civil university after studying political science. He was retired from the army in year 2001. As he started his postgraduate studies on role of intelligence in foreign policy, it can be understood that Fidan was interested or allegedly worked or spied for MIT during his army years. He was also consulting for Australia's embassy in Ankara during his postgraduate study. He was appointed as the chairperson of Turkish Cooperation and Development Agency during his PhD study. He was just 35 years old then, and it was the very first year of Recep Tayyip Erdogan in power. Then, Fidan's rapid increase started. Erdogan appointed him as his deputy undersecretary, board member of Turkish Atomic Energy Agency in 2008, board member of Ahmet Yesevi University in same year. Fidan was everywhere, in highly irrelevant institutions at the same time. And finally, Erdogan appointed him as the vice chief of MIT in April 2010. And just 1 month later, in May 2010, he was at the head chair of Turkish Intelligence Agency. He was just 43 years old, the youngest person to hold such a position. He is the right-hand man and main mentor and main foreign policy maker of Erdogan since then. The main opposition, CHP's spokesperson Faik Öztürk, believes that intelligence chief Fidan's appointment as the foreign minister, together with Army Chief of Staff General Yaşar Güler's appointment as the defense minister, is highly inappropriate because the government loses its civilian character this way.
Mağduriyet hikayeleri devşiren saray, şimdi tam bir vesayet düzeni görüntüsü veren uygulamaları hayata geçiriyor.
The palace shows off as bringing a tutelage regime to Turkey. Erdogan, who is informed about the coup attempt by his brother-in-law, appoints the intelligence agency chief as the new foreign minister. Not enough, he appoints the chief of staff as the new defense minister. This paves the way of starting a new tradition of appointment of chief of staffs as the defense ministers of civilian governments. What kind of a civilianization is this? It's hard to understand. These things bring the dangerous risk of making the intelligence agency and the army, of becoming a major factor of civil politics.
Unsuru haline getirme riski taşıyor. Kurumların milliliğine.
According to Hediye Levent, a journalist who is specialist at Syria and the Middle East, thinks that Hakan Fidan's main mission as the foreign minister will be to rebuild the bridges that are already collapsed at present.
Dolayısıyla Hakan Fidan'ın şu anda göreve geldiği
When we look at the conditions right now at the beginning of Fidan at the Foreign Ministry office, we see that Turkey is keen to rebuild the bridges that are already collapsed during the previous terms. It's about Syria, it's about Israel, it's about Libya, and it's about the Gulf countries. There are also issues that the intelligence leg needs to deal at first. There's the issue of arbitration between Russia and Ukraine. There's the issue of unmanned combat aerial vehicles that Turkey recently started to use as a diplomatic tool. In such issues, Turkey needs a tool of intelligence to solve and proceed. Before the diplomatic relations start between countries, the intelligence staff brings the process to a certain point. And then the diplomacy tools start to work, especially if the bridge is totally collapsed with a country.
çok sert bir şekilde yıkıldığı ülkeler için sürecin bu şekilde ilerleyeceğini söylüyor.
It's already known that Hakan Fidan is an eagle of Recep Tayyip Erdogan, but also he is a dark horse. Turkey may proceed in a more aggressive or more moderate way in terms of foreign relations. It is known that he never hesitates to find or create a casus belli to obtain his goal. But what's obvious is, Turkish foreign policy will be more pragmatic than ever in an intelligence officer's hands. And maybe Erdogan will prepare him for his seats for the next term. That's all for today's podcast. See you next week. Bye bye.